We've been telling young people, go to school, get educated, then you get a good job, you'll be empowered. But in most of our countries, the people who are living the best lives have no education. The people who are driving the best cars, no education. We have political cadres now occupying significant positions in government because they are loyal. Some of them are fantastically incompetent, but they are wonderful people. Unfortunately, wonderfulness does not cure the underdevelopment challenge. We have equated having things with being, so that those who have things are considered more human beings.
There's a new force of nature at hand, stirring all over the world. They are the young people whom, frankly, we have failed, who are angry, who are organized, who are capable of making a difference. They are a moral army. And the most important thing that we can do for them is to get the hell out of their way.
Sisi vile vile sio wote ambao wanataka ugomvi kwa sababu ya ugomvi.
Niwaambia nyinyi ni wajinga mkimpata Ruto. Mkadhani tunawadanganya.
Jeti ya Ruto. Hii maisha ya Ruto ni stress na ni stress.
Mungu wewe umetukosea.
Greetings to you all. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, I want to salute everyone as you join from wherever you are. We are happy to have you on board, even as we look into what's cooking in our politics and how to respond to the same in terms of being responsible citizens that would want to make this country work in the best interest of the majority of the Kenyan people. Now, I know that the reality of that is not very much seeable, looking at the kind of stumbling blocks we throw our way as we navigate into the appreciating of who leads us and who should not lead us. Now, where to start is the InfoTrack poll result that reveals that William Ruto leads the pack of those that are aspiring to be the CEO of this country come general elections in 2027. Now, what is disturbing about the InfoTrack is that the reality on the ground and the information that is coming out to prove that William Ruto is in a comfortable lead of 28%, followed closely by Matiang'i and then Kalonzo, and then the rest of the people like Martha Karua, like Maraga, all those people that we would look up to as good in implementing the constitution and making Kenya work are below 10%. And that, in my opinion, as much as there are questions raised about the InfoTrack, it begins to mirror the kind of society we have and the kind of Kenyans we have become. That, like Millie Odhiambo says, if she was a good girl, she would have never made it to parliament, and so she chose to be a bad girl. It appears that Kenyans love bad boys, not clean boys, not straightforward boys, not the nice ones. They're looking for a bad boy to lead them. And that, without naming anybody or implying anyone, I just want us to analyze as Kenyans. Is it true that we are so much into getting bad boys and bad girls to lead us instead of nice, good looking, promising young people? I need to hear that from you, from wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining. Please don't watch the show alone. Invite somebody. Let's get down to business as we look at how in the world can Kenyans be crying Ruto this, Ruto that, Ruto this, and Ruto that, and still want him to be their leader? That controversy, I'm yet to come to terms with the same. I can't help but feel this aspect of a lady married to a bad guy, okay? And she's always complaining, she's being beaten, she's being mistreated, she's being manhandled. And then, of course, when she's asked to leave that marriage or that relationship, says, but I still love him. Now, I know issues of heart are different than politics, but I don't get it. Why should 28% of Kenyans be wanting to still continue with the Ruto leadership when we have an opportunity to escape from the bad leadership and the bad policies that are grinding this country to a halt, to say, but the least? There is crisis everywhere. Crisis in health care, crisis in education, crisis in food security. And now the promises have changed from bottom up to Singapore. And you still want that same confusion to persist and perpetuate in leadership. You will make me understand why we want bad boys and bad girls to lead us instead of straightforward, forthright people that can help our country develop and, of course, become what it should be, and that is to take care of each and every Kenyan, not to become first world or second world or third world, but to be able to take care of each and every Kenyan comfortably. That is a more, achievable goal than this Singapore journey and all manner of fighting corruption or fighting tribalism or fighting disunity. Yeah, to me, all that is a mixture of confusion to keep you voting in wrong people so that they can continue doing you wrong, and you complain that you love them, you like them, you can't do without them. Is that where we are? And is that where we want to continue to be? Niambia hapo kwa comment section, na kama unataka kuingia studio, tumia link nimeweka kwa comment section. Ingia studio tukazungumze masuala haya. Mimi kwangu nataka ukweli wa mambo kwamba tunapenda bad girls and bad boys to lead us. Hiyo mtanitibu leo. Licha hiyo, kuna swala hili nyeti ambalo limeleta utata, na ni kutokana na kifo cha mbunge ama mjumbe wherever Cyrus Jirongo. Kifo chake kina utata, jinsi alivyokufa, na katika hayo mazingara kuna maswali mengi kuliko majibu. Na pia katika kuzikwa kwake, mwili wake umesafirishwa Kitale leo na uko tayari kwa mazishi, lakini katika hiyo mazishi pia kuna utata. Okay, kuna utata hapa ambako mila na desturi inasema mtu ambaye amekufa katika hali tatanishi anazikwa na tochi ili amulike wale ambao walihusika katika kumuua, kama kuna yeyote aliyehusika. Sasa wanasiasa wamechukua hili swala wakaanza kulichezea shere hapo na pale. So kuna wale wanasema mtu azikwe tu, tutatumia polisi kutafuta kama kuna yeyote ambaye alihusika katika kifo chake, sheria itachukua mkondo wake. Hapa wengine wanasema mpaka mila itumike. Yes, mpaka mila itumike. Hawa waliohusika tuwatafute kiroho na kimwili kwa pamoja. Sasa nyinyi ndio mtaniambia leo tunapiga kura, tutumie torch ama tutumie polisi? Niambie hapo kwa comment section katika kufanya nini katika kufanya nini what is this Swahili word, kufumbua hili fumbo la kifo cha Jirongo mpaka kuzikwa kwake. Asanteni sana. Naomba tafadhali karibisha mtu. Tuko TikTok Sound Candy Talk, Facebook Sound Candy Talk, and YouTube of course Sound Candy Talk Live and Sound Candy Talk. Please make sure that you invite somebody, and let's of course look into this keenly and enjoy the show. Give the video a thumbs up, please. Help us get active, and then of course be able to do what we must do, and that is get the information to as many people as possible. So naomba tuanze na hiyo kura ya maoni ambayo inasema William Ruto ndio ako mbele, wengine wote wanamfuata kwa nyuma. Kweli si kweli? Ni kipi hiki kinachoendelea?
A poll shows that President William Ruto's popularity has increased from 21% in August this year to 28% in December. The InfoTrack poll shows that President Ruto is the most preferred presidential candidate, followed by the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i. Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka and the Embakasi East lawmaker Babu Owino follow. According to the poll released today, 46% of Kenyans will consider the cost of living while going to vote in the ballot in the 2027 polls, while 27% will look at the fight against corruption. Others will consider provision of health services, education, and youth employment. In the poll, 31% of Kenyans do not trust that IEBC will deliver a credible election, while only 8% of Kenyans have confidence in the electoral body. A poll.
Ngoma ndio hiyo. Wengi wa Kenya kulingana na hiyo InfoTrack poll wanasema William Ruto ndio anatosha hivi kwamba ako mbele with over 15% to the person coming after him. Now we have questions about the reality and the authenticity of that particular poll, but of course Kenyans are free to express themselves. We live in a free world. But looking at it closely, is this the state of affairs? While, one thing about that poll that I find fascinating is that the majority of the Kenyan people are going to vote, and they will consider the cost of living. And the headmaster or the CEO of this great country, William Ruto, who has contributed to the high cost of living, is still preferred when we are considering the cost of living to determine for us who should be the head of affairs in our country. I don't, get that clearly. I need you to make sense. If I have made the cost of living to go high, I made people unable to travel to the villages for Christmas holiday. And things are moving from bad to worse. Majority of the families are moving from the upper class to the middle class and to the lower class. Now, how in the world do we still consider the same thing and want to vote in the same person that has presided over our predicament? If hiyo ni nini, hiyo niambie, sitaki kusema ni uchawi, lakini ni nini? Ni nini hiki ambacho tunaona kwamba William Ruto licha ya kuwa amefanya hiki na kile, amesababisha vilio vya wengi na kukosa kwa wengi, bado yeye ndio anapendwa na bado yeye ndio anachaguliwa. Mnaona hii InfoTrack wanasema ukweli ama wanasema uongo? Na kama ni ukweli, hivi Wakenya tuko sawa? I mean, tuko akili timamu katika kuchandanua mambo haya na kufanya uamuzi ambao unafaa? I thought if somebody is making life unbearable, making the cost of living to skyrocket, and of course making healthcare not to function smoothly, education to be in crisis after crisis, and of course things not going so much as they are for the good of the majority of Kenyans, will be angry enough to want to vote him out. How do we at the same time complain about failed systems and failed services, and then at the same time say that man is the good man, that man is the man for the job, that man needs to lead this country? Help me make sense of the same. In my opinion, is either there's something wrong with the poll or something wrong with Kenyans. And you will tell me what is that is wrong with us as Kenyans, or is the poll sponsored to push a particular narrative that is not in agreement with the reality on the ground? Wanasema kwa ground mambo ni different. Mbona hii poll imetoka kwa ground na ground inasema vingine, kana kwamba si kweli kwamba uongozi wa William Ruto sio mzuri? Na hii pia inatokana na nini? Kuna hizi polls ambazo zimefanywa kwamba who is the most hated president, and of course the controversy that surrounds the leadership of William Ruto. It's an international issue. It's no longer a national problem. It's an international matter. And if he leads in, as the polls say, I'm talking about public things that are in the public domain, he is most corrupt, most hated, and of course, not liked. How come we still want him to lead? Let us know what you think about this. To me, hii inakaa kama video, inakaa kama drama, lakini mtanisaidia. Asanteni kila mmoja, naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana. Namba ya watazamaji ipande tafadhali, share link widely, get more people to join, and of course we need your opinion. Hapa PS anasema like the video and join the show please. Huyo ni Tuni wa PS hapa, na usubiri tafadhali tumakinike katika kuangalia masuala haya kwa kina. So kuna kitu ambacho tukiangalia tu kwa kifupi, historia ya polls hapa Kenya. Katika hapo awali hakuanga na polls. I think there was a time they were banned or something like that, but polls were brought back by Moi in the run-up to the 1992 elections. Remember, before that, there was no presidential elections. The first multi-party presidential elections took place in 1992. And at that time, Moi was trailing. He was most hated, and Kanu wasn't as popular. And of course, the whole of, we say the majority of Kenyans had moved away with the opposition. That is, we're talking about the Ford. Okay, the Ford before there was Ford Kenya and Ford Asili. And so when the majority of Kenyans were in support of the opposition and didn't want to have anything with Moi, and so Moi saw one way of pushing the KANU ya jenga inji narrative, and KANU is too strong, borrowing from the words of Mwai Kibaki, that trying to dislodge KANU from power is like trying to cut a mugumo tree using a razor blade. So things were thick at that point in time. And so the reality, remember, Moi was a consumer of intelligence, and he knew majority of Kenyans are not for him. He knew it for real. And so the reintroduction of the uh, pollsters in terms of predicting or indicating the direction of the election would take was reintroduced to help in managing the narrative that Kanu is finished, Moi is finished, and he can never be elected by Kenyans. And so the polls, of course, they are managed, and in the management of the poll is to see to it that the difference is not wide. Okay, the difference is not wide, so that if the election goes the bad or goes the wrong, in quotes, direction, they can easily tilt it in favor of the other without destabilizing the country. And you notice that from 1992, those of you that follow Kenyan politics and, of course, Kenyan elections, you notice that the margin between the winner and the loser have been always very close, have been always be very close. The difference is always minimal. And those who, investigate these things say that one of the things that are used to make sure that management of the poll is whatever management of the ability to rig someone out and rig someone in is easier when the poll has been pushing that so and so is in the lead, but is being followed closely. So and so is in the lead, but it's being followed closely. And so when the tables turn, they will not cause a lot of conflict and of course breakups, and there will be no earthquake simply because even the poll were indicating that so and so was in the lead, although he was being followed closely. And so probably when people went to the poll, they decided to vote the other way. And so we noticed that the reintroduction of the poll into the Kenyan politics was not intended to reveal exactly what is on the ground, but to help manage the situation on the ground, so that when Moi gets successfully rigged in 1992, there will be no clashes, there will be no chaos, and of course, there will be that benefit of doubt that although people were in opposition and, of course, voted for the opposition, Moi still led. And then, of course, beside the poll managing the situation, there was also the aspect of dividing the opposition. Okay, make sure that there are multiple number of candidates from the opposition wing, so that the opposition vote is split and Moi can easily sail in without much problem. Do you notice 92, Moi was president with less than 40% of the vote, the same with 97. And that is the history of the pollster in the Kenyan politics. And it appears that the poll that were being given by InfoTrack, and of course, there was the other one, TIFA, and all that, the way they are going about leaves a lot to be desired. And there is no doubt that somebody somewhere is puppeteering the situation in order to make room for somebody to sit pretty in a win that he doesn't have. And that, to me, is one of the dishonest reality of what we are becoming as a society, that we can choose to lie to the public and choose to, carry people for fools when matters are clear and don't need to be so. And so I think we need to, invite in Traore and help us to turning Kenya not into Singapore, but into Burkina Faso, the land of upright people, the land of truthful people, the land of honest people, the land of straightforward people. I think going Singapore is better. I mean, going Burkina Faso is better than Singapore, because if we really need to engage into the development agenda that really matters, it has to be centered towards making the Kenyan livelihood better, and of course ensuring that every Kenyan is able to take care of themselves, take care of their families without necessarily being dependent on others. Now that is a more achievable wherever aim than all this fiasco we are being treated to in the name of tunaenda Singapore, tunaweza kuwa Singapore. And on that issue of Singapore, I have gotten some video here that I would want to share the same and just help us think. Do we need to go the Singapore way, or we need to go this China way? Just stick in here as we continue with the conversation. There is something here I want us to share shortly, and then of course go to the torch manenos ya Jirongo. Ningependa tu tuangalie hii kwa kifupi, and then of course we look at where is the video. I hope I brought it in here. Okay, where is it? It's not ready. Well, as I prepare that video, I want you to please karibisha mtu. Hiyo namba ya watazamaji imekwama mahali hapo, nataka iongezeke. Alafu likes za TikTok sisioni. Tafadhali tap your screen, keep the screen busy, and then of course karibisha mtu. Naamini haya mambo tunasema hapa ni muhimu na inasaidia. Kwa hivyo kuwa hapa. This is where we make sense of politics as we ease life for the masses. I'm waiting for Kina Undumani to come in and give their view. But what's cooking in this country is very interesting on how we can force, things even where they should not be. And we want to force that that should be the reality and should be made believable. And it is tough. It is tough being a Kenyan, and it is tough being in Kenya, that tunaweza kulazimisha kwamba mambo yako hivi hata kama yako vingine, na katika hiyo hali tusababishe kwamba hakuna mchezo, kila mtu amini hiki ndio kipo na lazima kiende hivi, haswa ikifika kwa masuala ya uchaguzi. Na naamini kwamba hata kama hiyo InfoTrack imesema pale, watu wengi hawana imani na IEBC kwamba inaweza kutupatia uchaguzi ambao ni free, fair and credible. Na hapo ndipo wengi wetu tuna hofu, kwa sababu kama tunaongozwa na serikali ambayo haiaminiki, alafu tuko na IEBC ambayo haiaminiki, and then tunakwenda kwa uchaguzi ambao tunajua kwamba IEBC haiwezi kutupatia yale ambayo tumepigia kura, basi inaonyesha kwamba we are bordering, if we are not yet there, a failed state. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm proud of the same, but just the reality of what we must confront. That why are we so much hurrying towards a failed state when we are, talking about going the first world, or, heading to development of the magnitude of, competing with the international community in a way that is, in a way that is, we could say, high stake. So are we going first world by word of mouth, or are we going first world by action? And this action, is it geared towards helping every Kenyan, or it is for safeguarding those in power and ensure that they stay in power perpetually for their own profit at the expense of the welfare of Kenyans? And so, talking about Singapore, there is this video I want us to look at shortly on what China is doing in transforming their desert into green land. And us, we have desert part of Kenya that we are not willing to look at, we're not willing to address, we're not willing to change it into green. We are talking about going to Singapore. I just want you to look at this and to help me make sense of whether we are the mad ones or China is the mad one. Look at this.
You won't believe this. China is now #1 in the world at stopping deserts. And the wildest part? They're not using high-tech machines. Their secret weapons are actually bundles of wheat straw and a few tiny desert shrubs. Workers push the straw deep into the sand, creating thousands of tight, square grids across the desert. It looks unbelievably simple, but the results are insane. These grids cut wind speed by 50% and block 90% of drifting sand, basically freezing moving dunes in place. When spring comes, they plant tough shrubs like sand willows. These plants are absolute survivors. Some even stay alive with almost no water at all. Give it just a few years, and dead land starts turning green again. Right now, China is running the largest desert control project on Earth, stretching across 42% of the entire country. Who would have guessed that the world's hardest environmental challenge could be solved with something so simple? Today, China has already turned 70% of treatable deserts green, and dozens of countries are flying in to learn how it's done. So what do you think? Can a method this simple really change the future of deserts forever? You won't believe this. China is now #1 in the world at stopping deserts.
There you have it. There you have it. Now, the reason I brought in this video is how much of land do we have in Kenya that is not useful simply because it is dry, it is desert, it doesn't receive enough rain. Okay? Looking at the Kenyan map and the land that is called semi-arid is bigger than what is green and useful. And so I brought this to address this animal we have begun to talk about, Singapore, okay? If we really want to deal with the Kenyan problem and solve it rightly, then we should deal with our issue here. What is the issue? We have huge land, parcels of land that is not in use, okay? We have what we call absentee landlords. They own massive land, and that land is not put to use, it's just kept there because they own the title deed and they are the owners, and they're not putting that land to use, number one. Number two, we have these semi-arid areas until we have a ministry called Ministry of Semi-Arid Areas. These semi-arid areas have people we call governors, okay, and senators, and women rep, and members of parliament. We are not seeing anyone taking the challenge of turning Turkana green, turning Marsabit green, turning Wajir green. We are all talking about Singapore. The Singapore, we don't know where it is from where we sit. Now, I find it very difficult when you listen to politicians talking about helping this country while running away from responsibility. So if China will attempt to turn their desert into productive land, desert, and us, we want to squeeze the last coin from the last man in this country to come up with what we're calling infrastructure fund. And then we have affordable housing fund. And then we have affordable housing levy. And then we now have healthcare view. SHA, what? Is there something wrong with us? Or is it that we are blind to the possibilities that we have as a country that we can engage to help our people? I mean, how much will it take? Marsabit, vast. Marsabit is huge. Turkana is huge. West Pokot, Ndiohio, Wajir, and all those areas have huge potential that can turn this country into a hub of possibilities, a hub of what? Agricultural produce. Yes, agricultural produce that will make us exporters, just like that. And the water for that business is right underneath the sand, underneath the so-called semi-arid area. All we need is to dig and get out the water, treat the water, and put it on irrigation and turn the whole of Turkana to agriculture, the whole of Marsabit to agriculture. And we'll never talk about food security. We'll never talk about import or import of anything called food in this country. But what are we doing? Doing the Singapore, 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, no term, term. We are busy talking about term when our really problem is failure to utilize the resources that we have. And so these counties that are in semi-arid areas have been in existence for how long now? 15 years, okay? 15 years, and the transformation on the ground, we still need microscope to find what the resources that are being relayed into those counties, including what we call, what is it called? There is extra fund that is sent to counties that are marginalized. Okay, is it a balancing fund or something like that? And so when the rest of the counties are receiving their allocation, these semi-arid counties receive extra. And it is rumored that the governors in those particular counties, that extra money that is sent so that they can accelerate development into their counties and be able to match with the rest of the counties that went ahead of them, that money is used to mortgage a house in the US, mortgage a house in the UK, mortgage a house in Dubai. And this is the scene we have. This is the madness we have. And this is the kind of attitude we have towards leadership. And now seeking of government leadership or public leadership is no longer an opportunity to serve the masses and safeguard the resources of the country, but an opportunity to loot what you found in the office, run down the ministry, run down the parastatal, run down the county as soon as you get in. In my opinion, we don't need to go Singapore. We need to get back to utilizing resources. For William Ruto, you don't need to turn Kenya into Singapore. Just shoulder the responsibilities on your desk. Yes, shoulder the responsibilities on your desk. Do you know that you can turn this Kenya into heaven on earth without taxing Kenyans one bob? Just put to use the natural resources. Maximize the natural resources. Maximize the natural resources. Instead of maximizing the natural resources, look at what Ruto is suggesting. We should now go and begin to plant GMO products because they are drought resistant. Which drought resistant? When we have rains throughout, when we have water underground, when technology has advanced so much that to drill water, you don't need to bring all excavators and all big machinery. A small machine is able to drill water. The treating of the water, technology has greatly advanced. We don't need a whole, mass machinery to treat water. We can treat water from a simple place, simple machinery. So the reason why Kenya remains backward is because the leaders want it to remain backward. In fact, when now I'm saying this because I'm angry. Let me just say that. I'm saying this because I'm angry, because it is rumored that those semi-arid areas in this country are a part of what we call foreign currency earning projects. Okay, foreign currency earning projects. As long as Turkana remains a desert and Marsabit remains a desert, Wajir remains a desert, we have NGOs, okay, that operate in those harsh environment, and they are receiving funding also. So because of that funding, we have foreign exchange coming into the country. And so they would rather keep Turkana desert, keep Marsabit desert, keep Wajir desert, because it helps them earn foreign currency. You see the kind of backwardness we have, the kind of madness we have in the seat of power, that they would rather, instead of turn the place into being productive and freeing the people there from handouts, they want to sustain the handouts because it gives them foreign exchange earning. Anyone who thinks that this country can be changed by the current set of leaders and the current set of thinkers in the leadership today, I think we should stop dreaming. Something needs to happen to us, and that is we must wake up from the slumber and begin to embrace responsibility. Any leader who is in public office and is not taking responsibility of overturning the situation that is bedeviling the Kenyan people, he wants to babysit them and give them handouts in the pretext that he cares about them, that should not be tolerated. The governors in Marsabit, in Wajir, in West Pokot, in Turkana, they need to give us account. How much land have they put to use since they began to receive allocations? Because you did not become governor of Turkana to sustain the desert. You did not become the governor of Marsabit to sustain the desert. You did not become the governor of Wajir to become wherever, is it Wajir or whatever, to sustain the desert. Why, for once, can't we think outside the box and begin to do what really helps the people? Singapore, 1 term, 1 term, 2 term, 1 term. Feed the people, you can't. Treat the sick, you can't. Feed the students in school, you can't. Feed the sick people in Kenyatta National Hospital, you can't. And you come to tell us, kazi bila break. Hii ni kazi gani? Ni kazi gani inafanyika hapa? Kwa sababu kwangu mimi kuwa kiongozi ni kurahisisha maisha ya watu. Kuwa kiongozi ni kubeba mzigo ndio, lakini huo mzigo ni kuhakikisha kwamba huo mzigo umewabebea watu. Sio kubebesha watu mizigo. So you take with one hand, you give with one hand and take with another. Well, that is it. So China, they are facing their problem. What's their problem? Their desert. They are converting their desert into Greenland. You have run away from your desert. You fly in and fly out. You run away from absentee landlords, people who own land and that land is not in use, and you can't confront them because they are rich, they are big and all that. We need a leader in this country who is going to say, you either put the land to use or give it to somebody who can put it to use. Look at what's happening with Nairobi. And that is one thing that I salute Kidero for. Okay? Kidero, while he was governor, came up with a policy. If you have any building within the CBD that is still 3 floors, it must be brought down and you build a modern building. If you can't, sell the building to somebody who can do that. And look what's happening. The whole of Nairobi is translating into a modern city at a high rate, just by one policy. So what is this about us having a huge land that is arable, a huge land that can be put to proper use, that Kenyans don't need to buy unga for 100 shillings. They don't need to buy unga or sugar for that 130 per kilo. We don't need that. We can cut that by by over 50%, simply by producing our own sugar, processing our own sugar, and everybody will be smiling, not because the farmers are suffering. No, no, no. The resources are available and the facilitation is there. This aspect of us feeding on the blood of the hungry and feeding on the pain of Kenyans need to be brought to an end. How do we bring it to an end? Let us multiply resources. Is it not demand and supply? Yes, you will determine the price of products by what? Multiplying the supply. Why are you controlling the supply? Let the supply, demand and supply determine the price. Let's overproduce maize. The price of flour will drop. Let's overproduce rice. The price of rice will drop. Let's overproduce whatever it is that we need to overproduce. And then let us distribute it wherever evenly. As a government, you take on responsibility that kuna maembe Ukambani, okay? Tupeleke lori Ukambani, ibebe maembe, ipeleke wapi? Garissa. Ili bei ya maembe Garissa na bei ya maembe Ukambani iko sawa. Wote ni wa Kenya. Hapa katikati nini? Serikali imehakikisha kwamba hakuna mahali kuna uhaba wa maembe, hakuna mahali kuna uhaba wa viazi, hakuna mahali kuna uhaba wa mahindi. Hiyo ndio serikali. Lakini sasa hii serikali yatingiza 2 term, 1 term, 3 term, Singapore, bottom up and all that. Let's stop the madness, face the work and get the job done. Kama uwezi, ngatuka. Hakuna mtu anakulazimisha kuwa rais. Hakuna. Kuna mtu hapa amelazimisha Ruto akuwe rais. Wazee, kuna wazee wote hapa walitoka hapa wakafunga virago wakatembea polepole wakitingiza mkuki kwenda kwa Ruto kumuomba tafadhali kuja hapo ukuweko rais wetu. So ni kipi hiki tunasumbuana nacho? Wakati umefika tuinuke. Tutekeleze wajibu wetu. Naomba tafadhali tumakinike. Asante sana kwa wale ambao mnaendelea kukaribisha mtu. Tuko hapa kuhakikisha kwamba tuna make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. Kwa vile wangu inaonekana wafiki na leo niko hapa lakini naondoka. I'll be traveling early in the morning for a burial in Kitui, and so I will not stay long on this one, but we will do substantial, and then of course whatever remains we'll deal with it in the next program. But cha muhimu ni hicho, cha muhimu ni hicho. Mbona Anyang' Nyong'o amebadilisha Kisumu, okay, inang'ara, na Otuoma bado anatuelezea kwa nini Busia aing'ari. Mbona Oparanya anafanya Kakamega inakaa kama city? Haya, ukienda Vihiga ni jirani wa Kakamega, ni kama umetoka mbinguni ukaenda kuzimu. Ni nini hiki? Mbona ukitoka Kakamega kuingia Bungoma ni kama umetoka nchi nyingine ukaingia nyingine? Na kaunti zote zinapokea hela sawa. Uongozi, yule mlie naye katika uongozi ndiye anaamua kunaendaje. Okay, tangu Oparanya atoke Kakamega mkaingiza baraza, ni mabadiliko yepi yameongezeka? Ni kipi ambacho tunaweza kusema hiki ndicho baraza ameongeza kwa kila ambacho Oparanya alifanya? Kwa sababu Oparanya alikuwa miaka 5 alafu miaka 5. So hii miaka 5 ya baraza inaonyesha nini? Watu wa Kakamega, kuna mabadiliko yepi? Shule ngapi zimejengwa? Kuna nini? Barabara ngapi zimejengwa? Hospitali ngapi zimejengwa? Na ni access to government resources imefanyika nini? I think that's where accountability comes. So instead of us arguing about 1 term, 2 term, 3 term, 5, let's stop all that madness and face the job. And then, of course, if you're not making the life of Kenyans better, you are the wrong man for the job. And Kenyans need to stand against you without fear or favor. Well, so if China is changing their desert into Greenland, we have greater possibilities to turn our desert into Greenland than China. The straws they are using, they are importing it. You know, they are not even growing it. As we can grow our own straw here, we can dig our own water here. We can convert this country into a food center for the world if we only had people who want to do the right thing. But because we are always good at complaining and, of course, using wrong people, we like bad boys and bad girls. InfoTrack ndio hiyo inatuambia. Okay, hapa tu kuwakumbusha, Musalia Mudavadi anasema uchaguzi wa 2027 uwezekani pasipo kubadilisha katiba. Sasa Wakenya vile tulivyo na tabia yetu nzuri, mtu akaenda katika historia archives akaleta video moja hapa ambayo inapinga kubadilisha katiba. Sasa wale waliopinga kubadilisha katiba ndio wale wako katika mamlaka, na katika hiyo mamlaka wanatuomba kwamba katiba isiyobadilishwa basi vitu haziendi. Swali tunauliza, ni kipi kimebadilika? Si mlisema shida sio katiba, shida ni uchumi. Haya, uchumi huo badilisha. So mkishaingia, badala kubadilisha uchumi, sasa mgeuka tena mnataka kutubadilishia katiba. Haya, tunakukumbusha tu na hii, halafu tunasonga mbele. Asante sana.
Mambo ni tofauti. Kuna wale wanataka kududanganya na wametuzoea. Ati wanataka kududanganya shida ni ukabila, tubadilishe katiba ndio wapate vyeo. Sisi tunawaambia shida si ukabila, shida ni uchumi. Tubadilishe uchumi. Kila mwananchi apate kazi ama biashara, aweke pesa kwa mfuko. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Na ndio mnasikia tunasema tunabadilisha mfumo wa uchumi. Badala ya ile kutoka juu ikuje chini, sasa tutaanza chini iende juu. Tuanze hapa kwa mama mboga kwanza. Na huyu mtu wa biashara hapa chini. Ama mnasema namna gani? Mnasema shida ya Kenya ni ukabila ama ni uchumi? Nyinyi mko na shida na Waturkana? Mko na shida na Wakikuyu? Mko na shida na Waluya? Shida yenu ni nini? Pesa kwa mfuko, my friend. Wacheni kutudanganya. Tumewaambia wacheni mambo ya katiba. Katiba hakuna shida. Tubadilishe sera. Nyinyi mnanielewa? Mnanielewa watu wa West Pokot? Kabla ya nyinyi kubadilisha katiba mgawane mamlaka, tubadilishe sera, hawa wananchi wapate kazi na biashara, waweke pesa kwa mfuko. Hiyo ndio ya muhimu kwa Wakenya wote. Mambo ni tofauti.
Okay, there you have it from the archives. That's William Ruto as deputy president campaigning to get into office and say the problem is not ukabila. Ningependa tu kukumbusha kwamba mojawapo ya sababu ya kumtimua Gachagua ilikuwa kwamba yeye ni mkabila. Okay? Na kama umeangalia injili na ngoma ya watu wa Kenya Kwanza, kinyume na Gachagua ni kwamba Gachagua ni mkabila. Okay? Kwa hivyo hafai kuwa kiongozi. Lakini hapa William Ruto anasema shida sio ukabila, okay? Shida sio kubadilisha katiba, shida ni uchumi. Na akiingia tu atarekebisha uchumi ili kila Mkenya akuwe na pesa mfukoni. So kile ambacho mimi nauliza ni kwamba ni kipi kimebadilika? Aliingia ndani ndio akakundua sasa katiba ndio makosa ama kupindua uchumi. By the way, nikiuliza tu na mnisamee kama ninawakera, lakini tuambiane ukweli. Tangu William Ruto aingie katika madaraka, okay? Bottom up imefanya kazi. Si mimi naona top bottom ndio inafanya kazi. Top bottom suna Kindiki assistant, Ruto the headmaster. Wote wanatembea na gunia la pesa wakigawa wale watu wa chini. Sio ni top bottom ama ni bottom up. Ingekuwa bottom up ni wanatembea na gunia la sadaka wakikusanya kutoka kwa wananchi ili wapeleke up, okay? Lakini sasa ukitoka up na gunia la pesa wakigawa au wananchi wa chini, sio, ni up bottom. So mniambie hii ni bottom up ama ni up bottom? So kile ambacho nataka tuangalie katika hiyo video ni kwamba wanasiasa wana njia ya kuhadaa wananchi, na tusipokuwa makini tutaendelea kushinikiza na kukubali kuongozwa na watu ambao hawafai kwa sababu ya kucheza na maneno. Kucheza na maneno. So sai Mudavadi anasema katiba isipobadilishwa uchaguzi hauwezi kufanyika. Kwa nini? Ati vile katiba ilivyo sai mtu yeyote anaweza kwenda kotini na kuzuia hiyo serikali mpya kwa sababu watu wajahesabiwa upya, boundaries hazijawekwa vile katiba inasema. Kunaweza kuwa na ukweli hapo, lakini cha muhimu haswa, what is priority at this point in time? Is it fixing Kenya or rotating leadership or legalizing and ratifying illegal positions like that of prime cabinet secretary in the constitution? Something needs to happen to Kenyans, and that is, let's know the truth and let the truth make us free. Stop being deceived and being taken for a ride by simple liars who dress themselves in suit to stand and claim that they have your interest at heart. So pesa mfukoni, kuulize tu, tangu William Ruto aingia madarakani, ngapi zimeingia mfukoni mwako? Yeah? Hata ile hela ilikuwa umehurumiwa, tuseme hivyo, umehurumiwa na nani? Na Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta akasema basi, hiyo pesa unatumia kwenda kulipia ili mama ajifungue, hiyo weka kwa mfuko. Hiyo pesa ambayo unatumia ili ati mtoto wako amekuwa mgonjwa shuleni, hiyo weka mfuko. Kuna bima ya kila mwanafunzi. Mwanafunzi akiwa mgonjwa shuleni, bima italipa. Hakuna kurudi kwa mzazi. Hiyo pesa yote ilikuwa mfukoni, Ruto amekujia. So, ipi ndio pesa mfukoni? Ndio nauliza hii maneno ya InfoTrack. Ni Wakenya wamesema ama ni State House imetengeneza? Mnaambie tu. Kwa sababu hapa mimi sioni pesa mfukoni. Na sina imani ama sielewi kile ambacho kinaendelea. Ukweli ni kwamba uchumi haujaendelea vizuri. Maisha ya Wakenya haijaboreka hata wanaposema kwamba tunahama kutoka slum tukienda kwa affordable housing. Hiyo mambo haibadilishi chochote. Kwa nini? Bilioni vile vile. Uhaba wa hela ni huo. Uhaba wa kazi ni huo. Matibabu haifikii kila mtu. Janga lingetokea saa hii, ndio mimi huwa nashukuru Mungu kila siku. Nashukuru Mungu kwamba corona ilikuja wakati wa Uhuru Kenyatta, wakati wa Matiang'i na Magoha. Umeangalia cabinet siku hizi, angalia tu cabinet vizuri na unaambia corona ingeingia saa hii. Haya, usinipige mawe, naomba tafadhali tusonge mbele tuingie katika torch ya mazishi hii ili tuelewe ni kipi kinachoendelea kwa kina Jirongo na mambo ya mazishi yake wakitumia torch. Here we go.
Elsewhere, the body of former cabinet minister and Lugari member of parliament Cyrus Jirongo arrived in Kitale this afternoon ahead of his burial at his rural home in Western Kenya. But even as burial preparations continue, controversy has continued to trail both his death and the manner in which he should be laid to rest, after calls by sections of leaders and family members for Jirongo to be buried under a traditional Tiriki rite involving the placement of a lit torch beside his coffin, a practice believed to symbolically identify those suspected to be behind an unnatural death. The proposal, however, has sharply divided the political space, pitting leaders calling for cultural justice against the others, insisting that accountability must be pursued through formal investigations. NTV's Ashley Atieno now reports.
The final journey of former minister and Lugari member of parliament Cyrus Jirongo began this afternoon with the arrival of his body at the Kitale airstrip. It was a moment marked not by spectacle but by silence, broken only by grief, as family members, close allies and leaders from across Western Kenya gathered to receive the casket. But even in mourning, the nation remains divided. For days now, a fierce debate has raged over how Cyrus Jirongo should be buried, following calls by a section of leaders for the observance of a traditional Tiriki burial rite, one that requires a lit torch to be placed beside the coffin, a ritual believed to symbolically expose those suspected to be responsible for an unnatural death.
It does not presume guilt on anyone to have that investigation, and I offer to buy the torch, Khaniri, in that respect, because the truth is important.
Supporters of the ritual argue that unanswered questions surrounding Jirongo's death demand more than silence, insisting that culture offers a form of symbolic justice where doubt persists.
And it is a demand that the government releases a press conference detailing the circumstances surrounding the death of Cyrus Jirongo before we bury.
Others see danger in that path. Several leaders have publicly rejected the proposal, warning that the ritual risks reopening old wounds, politicizing grief and replacing the rule of law with fear and speculation. And as the political debate intensifies, cultural elders from the various Abaluya communities have stepped forward to clarify the meaning and the consequences of the ritual.
Kama mtu alimuua, bila sisi kuchua nani alimuua, tukishika na torch tunaweka dawa yetu ya zamani inaitwa njano. Hiyo njano itatafuta yule aliua, tunasema mara 7. Wenyewe wataanza kukufa, alafu kesho yake wenyewe watakuja kusema tuliua mtu wenyu bila kuchua.
Na sio tu tochi peke yake, tutachukua pia mishale ya mnyama anayeitwa porcupine 4, kwa kulia tunaita isekesi. Hiyo mishale ni sharp kabisa, tutaweka katika kona 4 za kaburi yake, na maana yake ni kwamba isizuie mtu ambaye alihusika kwa hiyo maneno.
A post-mortem examination concluded that Jirongo died from blunt force trauma following a road accident along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway on 13th December. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations also confirmed that it is continuing to piece together his final moments, analyzing phone records and questioning witnesses to establish whether foul play was involved. The burial is expected to take place at his Lumakanda home in Kakamega County on December 30th, even as investigations into the circumstances of his death continue. Ashley Atieno, NTV.
Haya, ngoma ndio hiyo kwamba mazishi yafanyike, lakini mila iache ifanye kazi. Alafu kuna wale ambao wanasema investigators wa polisi na masuala wao waendelee na kazi yao. Mimi sioni shida ya mila kutumika, licha ya kuwa mimi ni mhubiri wa Injili na naamini kwamba kulipiza kizazi ni jukumu la Mungu kama vile Biblia inasema, lakini utamaduni wa watu unaruhusiwa na ni muhimu watu waachiliwe kufanya yale ambao wanataka kuyafanya. Yule anayezuia basi aanze kutuambia mapema anajua nini kuhusu kifo cha Jirongo. Kama hujahusika, mbona unaenda kuzuia yale ambayo wanakwenda kufanya, yale matambiko ambayo yanakwenda kufanywa ili kuhakikisha kwamba wale ambao wamehusika wapate adhabu yao. So is there anything more to the death of Jirongo that we don't know and we should know? Let us be brought in the light. Failure to which watiriki wafanye ya kwao, polisi wafanye ya kwao. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. Shida iko wapi? Achana na Jirongo azikwe vile watu wake wanataka kuzika. Kumbuka Biblia inasema let the dead bury their dead. So wenye mwili wauzike vile wanapendezwa kuuzika. Serikali kaa mbali na ya kwako. Sume DCI wanashughulika na wamehoji wale wanahojiwa. Forensic audit imefanyika, postmortem imefanyika, basi serikali imefanya kazi yake. Hii imebaki waachie watiriki wafanye vile wanapenda, alafu mambo yaishe. Na kama kuna wote ambao wameona kwamba faida yao inatokana na kuua wengine, basi ngoma kwenu. Mnaogopa kufa wakati mnaua wengine, kwani au wengine ndio wakufa tu, wewe hutaki kufa? Kuna kitu hapa nimetumiwa leo. I don't know if I'll get it. Somebody asking a very pertinent question. Okay, those who are keen in killing others, do they think that they will live forever? And the reason this is something that is touching is the aspect of how many lives we have unnecessarily lost in this country. All of it on the pretext that they want to stop particular people from ascending to the presidency, or a particular community from being in power. And in the process, we kind of destroy the future of the country by eating up those that I believe God wired and God sent to be of help into ushering this country into greatness. One way of God solving problems is in ensuring that certain people are created at a certain time for a certain reason. Meaning when you tamper with somebody's life, you are tampering with God's program. You are tampering with God's, solution to unseen problems. That is what I was born to come and do that no one else should be doing. And that is what you are born to do. So when you exterminate my life, you interfere with that God's program. And this greed for power that leads this country into exterminating people and, killing people, all of it on the premise that you are the one to be in power and nobody should threaten your being in power. It's uncalled for. It's uncalled for, and we all as a people need to rise up and say enough is enough. I have always held this understanding. If only we had Jomo Kenyatta be a Mandela, okay? Jomo Kenyatta be the Mandela of Kenya, meaning that he serves one term and then hands leadership to younger people, okay? Like Tom Mboya, like J.M. Kariuki, like Gamapindo. All those people are late. I mean, they were killed. They were exterminated. Now look at that young crop exposed brains at that point in time, in the early 70s, late 60s. We wouldn't be talking about Singapore today. Singapore will be talking about us. But because of our greed for power and, of course, our imagination that we will live forever, or we are in charge of other people's lives, that we can as well, choose who should live and who should die, this is where we end up. How do we end up? Whatever that was sent to help us, we become the destroyer of the same. Whatever that was sent to lift us, we become the exterminator of the same. It's bad news. It's bad news. And as a country, if we don't learn from our history, we will keep repeating it. And I think we have not learned anything. We have not learned anything. And It really hurts that people so much, pretending that they love Kenya and they want the best of Kenya, yet they are the enemies of Kenya. They are the ones that are really stopping everything by going against the best of the best. I don't see which headmaster or which principal of a school would be going to exterminate bright students in his school, maybe because those bright students are not from his community or not from his tribe. How will you now sustain the performance of the school by getting rid of the best from the school? I've asked this question and I'll keep asking until we get what we need to get. When it comes to football, we choose the best to go and join the Harambee Stars, to join the national team. We don't pick anybody or anyhow. The same with basketball, netball, and all manner of games. Kenya is known for athletics. We don't pick anybody running on the road and say, do you feel like going for the Olympics? Come, go for Olympics. No. We take them through rigorous exercise and then pick the best of the best to send them for Olympics, to send them for a world marathon. What happens to us that when it comes to political leadership, we say anybody with numbers can come? How? If we want to win the way we win medals in athletics, the way we win football matches and all that, we work with the best. What makes us think that in politics we can do with the worst and still get the best? I want that to break you as a Kenyan and as a voter. Before, when you go to that booth and tick, you want so and so to lead you. What does he have that can help this country? Promising, lying, giving you vain promises. So let's wake up, especially those of you that are voters. Let's be responsible voters, not emotional voters, not deceived voters. You see, like now the debate is we want to punish Mount Kenya. Punishing Mount Kenya. You go to vote to punish Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya has been voting to punish Raila Odinga. How much did they get? They punished the man was in State House. They punish him this time, he is in State House. They punish him the third time, he is in State. This good punishment. Let's not go to vote to punish anybody. Let's go to vote for Kenya. Vote for making Kenya better. Vote for credible leaders. Vote for top quality. Stop all this nonsense that you still want somebody who is running this country to the south to continue running it. No. Something needs to happen to us. And as Kenyans, let's talk straight on these matters. Reject bad leaders. Reject bad leaders. Kama huyo governor wenu ndio anakula pesa, ana mortgage nyumba Amerika, alafu anaacha Marsabit inakuwa desert, anaacha Turkana inakuwa desert, anaacha Wajiri inakuwa desert miaka yote 15, na bado mnataka kusema ati yeye ndio anafaa. Anafaa kivipi? Wakati umefika wa Kenya tupevuke, tuache mchezo. Kama kura ndio inaamua, basi tutumie hiyo kura kuamua vizuri. And then of course kuna hilo swala la IEBC, tutalizungumzia kwa kina labda katika kipindi ambacho kinafuata. Kile ambacho tunahitaji kama Wakenya ni kusimama na kusema kwamba imetosha. Imetosha. Ni kipi hiki ambacho kinafurahisha watu katika kuua wengine na katika kujifanya kwamba hao ndio peke yao wanaweza kuongoza, ama hao peke yao ndio wanafaa kuongoza. Okay, here is the portion. Let me just read it out. This was posted by, I think it's Caroline Florence Jabbar. She's a blogger. We blog for Raila Odinga together. Now, she says, at times, strange things happen in Kenya. My question is, those who always give orders for innocent lives to be taken, will you guys live forever? Why, and I ask, why kill innocent people for trying to prevent the truth from coming out? And then she lists the names there. Honorable Orwa Ojode, Tom Boyer, Professor Saitoti, Chris Msando, Robert Ouko, kuna huyu Horace Owiti, kuna Ezekiah Oyugi, Ogango, kuna Otieno Mbala, kuna Ken Okoth, kuna Honorable, who is this? Wangare Madai, is it? Okay, kuna Cyrus Jirongo and some. I may have forgotten. What have you gained after assassinating them and steal away their life from them? Now, I know there are some controversial names in that list, but what I would want us to clearly look at is, why would anybody want somebody exterminated for power? Power is not forever, and nobody will be in power forever. Why should we stoop so low to a level whereby instead of us competing on let the best man win, we want to exterminate all that? Like we say that if you are a short man among tall people, you have two choices. Okay, two choices: either to grow taller and catch up with them, or cut their legs so that they come to your level. It appears that in Kenya politics, the latter is the way. Instead of people striving to grow taller so that they beat the rest, they believe in cutting legs so that people can come down to their level. The politics of sabotage, the politics of extermination, the politics of assassinations, these need to be brought to an end. We are a country, and our children and our children's children are our blessing. Our bright students are our blessing. We should not exterminate them. We should not kill them. If somebody knows something that you wish to know, go to them and learn from them. Killing them will not make you add what they have to them. I always tell workers who are prone into reporting their fellow workers to the boss so that the boss can sack them. I always say that you are a receptionist or a secretary, whatever it is, and you're always reporting so-and-so came late, and so has not eaten, and so this and that. You say, as soon as the boss sacks this person, they will add you the work of that person, but not add you the salary that person was drawing. That's what happens. So let's not be a man-eat-man society. Let's stop being man-eat-man society and be responsible. Be responsible. If the people you are leading are a challenge to you, it means you have a lot of attacking on your side. You have a lot of improvement required on your end. So if somebody is getting in politics and is far ahead of you because he's wiser, he's wide, wide traveled, he's highly exposed, there are two things: go to them and learn and become like them, or hire them so that you engage their expertise in your quest, so that we don't interfere with the standard and the quality of life by killing people that are supposed to be helping us move forward. The earlier we run away from the politics of assassinations and the politics of exterminating people, the better for this country. The better for this country. We have buried great brains that were meant to propel this country to prosperity, to self-reliance. All of it in the pretext that tunalinda urais, tunalinda ukubwa, tunalinda uongozi. Operation Linda Nchi, Operation Linda Rice. Kuna wale ambao wanaongoza ile genge la abductions, atu wanalinda urais. Urais unapaswa kutulinda ama sisi kuulinda? Unachaguliwa kuwa rais ili ulinde wa Kenya ama ulindwe? Na ni kipi hiki ambacho Wakenya wanakutafutia? Kwani wewe ni mwizi? Ni kipi ambacho cha Wakenya umechukua ambacho kinakufanya uwezi kuwa na amani mpaka utafute genge ambalo utatumia kwenda kujifanya kwamba unalinda urais kwa kuhujumu haki za Wakenya na maisha ya Wakenya? So kama nchi lazima tutoke katika hii ujinga, na uita ujinga, okay? Kwa sababu itakuwaje yule mtu ametumwa kukusaidia unamuua, alafu upate nini kutokana na hiyo? Faida yake ni nini? What do you get? President is 5 years. If 10 years, that's all. Why should you exterminate somebody's life because of that? Well, tuendelee na hiyo ngoma ya masuala ya torch, ili tukimalizia tutazungumzia hili ambalo tulizungumzia hapo awali kuhusu maneno ya NGOs na kazi wanayofanya ambayo serikali inajidai inaweza kufanya na tunajua haiwezi. Tusikilize huyu kijana anasema nini kuhusu masuala ya torch, alafu turejee.
Moses Masika Wetangula, umesikia kwamba Watiriki wanafanya kimila ya kuzika mwenda zake Cyrus Jirongo na tochi. Alafu umesema kwamba serikali ndio itazika Jirongo. We want to tell you Mr. Wetangula, Jirongo atazikwa na tochi. Either you like it or not. Jirongo lazima amulike mahali kwenye anaenda, na lazima asafishe. In fact, waongeze kifagio kwa hiyo sanduku. Why are you people afraid Jirongo akizikwa na tochi? Lazima kimila itumike hapa. And we are not afraid. Kijana wetu amwezi mmaliza alafu mnakataa azikwe na tochi. Lazima Cyrus Jirongo azikwe na tochi. Watiriki, musisikize hiyo makelele ati Jirongo anazikwa na serikali. How can the government bury Jirongo when he was not in government? Jirongo atazikwa na opposition because he was in opposition. He used to question the government. He did not die as Ruto's friend. He was an enemy to Ruto. Na msifikiria watu ni wajinga. Watu si wajinga bwana. Cyrus Jirongo atazikwa na tochi. Mwache kuogopa. Papa wa Roma, wacha kuogopa. Atazikwa na tochi. Na atawafyeka. Nyinyi, hiyo tochi kizima. Ikizima pap, mutafyekwa kufyekwa. Wait. Moses.
Aya, ngoma ndio hiyo. Mnachapiwa na hiyo kijana hapo. Anasema tochi lazima. Na wale wanahofia, watuambie mapema ni kipi hiki ambacho wanakihofia. Kama waliuzika, kuna ng'ombe, kuna kondoo, kuna kuku, kimbiza kwa wazee. Omba msamaha mapema ili usifyekwe. Kwangu mimi, mila desturi ya watu iheshimiwe. Alafu kama unajua haya mambo yote yaliwekwa ili kuhakikisha kwamba kuna usalama na kuna ile kuishi kwa utenga kwa kuelewana, okay? Kuheshimiana. Hizi mila hazikuwa tu zinafanywa kwa sababu watu wanapenda. Ilikuwa a way of establishing order. Na mzee wetu Jakitube ametuambia hapa kila mara, okay? Wazungu walikuja wakatoa hizi mila, wakasema ni za shetani, ili waruhusu hii system yao ambayo haifanyi kazi kuifanya kuwa system yetu. Hapa awali kulikuwa na mipaka, okay? Kulikuwa na mipaka. Kama kwetu hawezi kusalimiana na mama mkwe, okay? Wakati unatembea barabarani alafu unamuona mama mkwe anakuja hivi, unavuka barabara unakwenda huko, mnaweza kusalimiana tu hewani, ile salamu ya Kristo. You can't shake hand with your mother-in-law. Haya, wakati huu nini kimefanyika? Tunasema we can hug mother-in-law. Haya, ngoma ni ipi? Tunaona mme. Kuna kipindi fulani hapo nilionyesha kwamba mama mkwe ni mjamzito na msichana wake ni mjamzito na muhusika ni son-in-law. Unaona, hizi mila zilikuwa zinalinda hizo mipaka. Sasa itakuwa kuaje mtu ambaye huwezi salimia kwa mkono mpate mtoto na yeye? You get what I mean? And so kuna usalama katika hizi mila. Kabla mtu adunge mtu kisu ama auwe mtu, hizi mila zilikuwa zinalinda jamii as a whole, so that people can restrain themselves. Like if you kill somebody, you will be killed. Or if you kill somebody, you'll be banished from the community. And so in the fear of that, everybody had constraint. Everybody had self-control. It wasn't like what it is right now, like what Wetangula is saying, that we should let the police and the law to take its course. That is not our tradition, and that is not how things should be done. I mean, if they are seeking spiritual help, let them find spiritual help. And finding spiritual help does not in any way stop the law from taking its course or the investigations of the police. Kwani tochi itaenda kupofusha huyo jamaa wa DCI? Ama itaenda kupofusha polisi wale wanafanya investigation? So Wetangula, kaa kando. Kwanza wewe sio mtiriki, kwa hivyo wachana watiriki wafanye kama mambo yao, wewe ngoja Bukusu utayafanya. Na sio kupagua, na sio kuwa mkabila. Nasema tu tuheshimu mila na desturi za watu. Tuache kuingilia. Na serikali, masuala ya serikali kuzika watu iachane na maneno kama hayo. Kuna mtu amesema hapo kwamba hata Raila Odinga alikufa katika njia tatanishi. Na hii maneno at state funeral labda ilikuwa ya kuzuia tochi. No. Walifanya state funeral ili tusizike baba na tochi. Atafute wale waliomuua. So maneno ya state funeral hapana. Wacha watiriki wafanye mambo yao. Polisi fanye kazi yao. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. Muda unaendelea kuyoyoma, lakini naomba tu tafadhali tumakinike katika kuendelea kukaribisha mtu alafu kulike video. And then of course we really want to thank all of you that make this program a success by of course helping us pay our bills. Na kama vile niliwaambia hapo, wale wako TikTok kuna hiyo till number hapo ambayo unaweza kutumia kuhakikisha kwamba tunanunua tokens na tunaendeleza kipindi hiki bila shida. 516575 ni buy goods and services. Na kama hauwezi kutumia till number kwa sababu uko ng'ambo ama kwingine, basi unatumia Safaricom line +254718454585. Wale ambao mnatufuata YouTube na wherever YouTube na Facebook, namba hiyo ina scroll pale chini, naomba ukaitumie ili tuendelee na kuzungumza mambo haya wazi wazi kama ilivyo. Tujifunze kutoka mmoja na mwingine, lakini cha muhimu ni kuwajibika kuhusu nchi yetu. Yes, tuwajibike kuhusu nchi yetu. Na kama siasa ndiyo inaamua nani anakuwa kiongozi, nani hakui kiongozi, tusijitenge na siasa. Tusikae mbali na siasa. Tuhusike moja kwa moja ili tujue kipi ni kipi na ni wapi tutakwenda kama mambo yanaharibika. It is important that we do that. And so let's be active, let's be involved, and then of course ensure that you are in the decision making table. Don't allow yourself to distance yourself from matters that are really important, and of course these matters touching on the national wherever progress and safety of the majority of Kenyans. Wote mnakumbuka kwamba kulikuwa na ile policy ambayo Trump US president alileta ya kusema kwamba misaada haitakuja kupitia NGOs, itakwenda moja kwa moja kupitia serikali ili serikali ikafanya nini, ikapeane huduma ambayo NGOs walikuwa wanapeana. Mojawapo ya hizo mikakati ambayo ilikuwa muhimu sana ni ile ya USAID, na kuna hii video hapa inaonyesha vile maisha iko hatarini, na of course kuna watu ambao hawapokei huduma ipasavyo tangu hiyo process isitishwe. And then of course we are asking the question, and it is simple. Can the government do what the NGOs have been doing without the help of the NGOs and their infrastructure? Let's look at this.
Ibrahim Karanja kwa tathmini hiyo. Mtazamaji, kuvunjwa kwa shirika la Marekani la maendeleo ya kimataifa USAID kumetatiza usambazaji wa chakula cha matibabu kwa watoto walio na utapiamlo. Kandarasi za kutengeneza na hata kupeleka chakula hicho zilisitishwa ghafla kwa sababu fedha zilizohitajika kuwalipa wasambazaji zilizuiwa. Na katika kaunti ya Turkana, zaidi ya watoto 80,000 walio chini ya umri wa miaka 5 wanakabiliwa na utapiamlo, huku ukame ukilikumba eneo hilo. Wahudumu wa afya wanadai wamekuwa wakifanya kazi bila chakula hicho, huku watoto wachanga wakiendelea kuathirika. Tumpate Rozo Ngoe na mengi.
Helen Etiman, mkazi wa kaunti ya Turkana, aliamini kwamba mwanawe mwenye utapiamlo atapona hivi karibuni baada ya kuanza lishe maalum ya kuokoa maisha yake. Peter Lokoyen mwenye umri wa miaka 4 ako na utapiamlo. Etiman aligundua kuwa alikuwa na kasoro mnamo mwezi Machi, wakati mtoto wake alianza kulala kwa muda mrefu wakati wa mchana.
Sasa amedhoofika kwa sababu hajapata chakula cha kutosha kwa sababu ya ukame. Kwa kawaida tunategemea matunda ya mwitu wakati hatuna chakula.
Etiman anasema ukame umeangamiza mifugo yake yote, ukimwacha akihangaika kuwalisha watoto wake 5. Uamuzi wa Rais Donald Trump wa kulivunja shirika la maendeleo ya kimataifa la Marekani USAID na kupunguza mipango ya misaada ya kimataifa ulikatisha maisha ya watoto kama Peter. Shirika la Marekani lilikuwa likifadhili ununuzi na usambazaji wa takriban nusu ya ugavi wa chakula cha matibabu kilicho tayari kutumika duniani. RUTF unatumiwa kutibu watoto wenye aina hatari zaidi ya utapiamlo.
The last time we received that stock was for RSF was May, for RUTF was end of April, and we have exhausted all.
Zaidi ya watoto 87,000 walio chini ya umri wa miaka 5 wangehitaji matibabu kwa utapiamlo uliokithiri kaunti ya Turkana. Mtoto mwenye utapiamlo mkali anapokaa miezi kadhaa bila RUTF, madhara ya kiafya yanaweza kuwa makubwa na wakati mwingine asiyoweza kurekebishwa. Hospitali nyingi zimeishiwa na chakula hicho.
This population, people even don't eat 3 meals a day. It is by chance they get even that 1 meal a day.
Turkana ni mojawapo ya kaunti zinazokumbwa na ukame, huku hali ya watoto ikiendelea kudhoofika kila uchao. Rozo Ngoe, NTV.
Ibrahim Karanja kwa tathmini hiyo. Mtazamaji, kuvunjwa kwa shirika.
Okay, there you have it. Bado tunaenda Singapore. Tuwesilisha watoto. Tuwestibu wagonjwa wetu. Zinataka kwenda 1 term, 2 term. These are some of the things that really heartbreaking. I have leaders who are talking about Singapore when right behind their backyard, people are dying for lack of food. And at the same time, we have parts of this country that are throwing food because they don't have a market for the same. Then we have a government that is talking about 2 term, 1 term. I pray for this country that God will send us a leader who will not stomach this stupidity and be able to help this country pick up the pieces and become what it should be. At this time, we have malnourished children, they don't have the aid. And we have a government with the Ministry of Health. And then we have 47 governments. Each of those 47 governments have a Ministry of Health. And we don't know how many children we have. We don't know the amount of food that children should take, the quality of food that children should take. The drought does not happen like delivery of pregnancy. There are signs. We have a meteorological department in the government drawing salary. So the weather patterns and the failure of rains is not a surprise. It's not a shock. It happens systematically. We know it. And we know that when the rains have not come in time, there are specific counties that are going to be first one to suffer. There's Turkana, there's Marsabit, there's Wajir, there is West Pokot. And we know that. It's in the records. It is in the database. And then what are we doing? We are waiting for the media to go and cover how many children are having kwashoko. Then we have a minister for health here who comes and defends the misuse of SHA money by giving it to fictitious hospitals where they go and collect and eat it. And that minister comes from semi-arid area where there is drought. My people. This country is headed in the wrong direction, and we better correct it now before it is too late. So what were 2 term, 1 term, 3 term? You are faced with this starvation problem. You are faced with this drought problem, and these problems are not going anywhere. The education deal here, 68,000 who applied to be changed, they cannot be changed. Secondary schools, junior secondary schools are non-existent. They are an adjustment of the primary school. The teachers want autonomy and all that. Everywhere is crisis. Then you want to tire us here on top of cars, telling us 1 term, 2 term. Where's fire? See fire, see fire. Well, let me call it a day. Thank you so much for being part and parcel of this. Nani huyu Simba ni Omar Said hapa anasema ni kama tasoma hiyo. Serikali ituibie pesa wazungu walishe watoto wetu. Ni aibu kubwa. Hivyo ndivyo mambo yalivyo. Yani tuna serikali hapa inajidai inafanya kazi, lakini vilio aliishi. Then baadaye tena wanageuka wanasema ni sisi watu wa 2 term, ni wanatuzuia kukua second term. Kwa nini? Marais wote wanakuanga second term. Second term kufanya nini? Kuendelea kusupervise vile tunavyoumia? Kama nchi haiwezi kulisha watoto, nchi haiwezi kusomesha watoto, serikali haiwezi kulinda wale watu ni wagonjwa. Kenyatta Hospital tuliambiwa juzi, wagonjwa wako huko wanameza dawa, hawana chakula. So kama wagonjwa hawana chakula, watoto hawana chakula, ni kipi hiki serikali ya William Ruto inafanya? Na kwa nini tuipatie second term? InfoTrack inasema you like bad boys. So utaendelea kuongozwa na wasiofaa kwa sababu hamna choice. Something must happen to us. Our country needs to be salvaged. And like I said, not going to Singapore. Tunaenda Burkina Faso. Yes, Burkina Faso. Hiyo tu ndio tunahitaji. Kwamba kila kitu kifanyike kwa faida ya kila mwananchi. Sio viongozi na sio wanasiasa, bali ni wananchi. Kama kuna rasilimali yoyote ya nchi hii, ni kwa ajili ya wananchi, sio kwa ajili ya serikali wala viongozi. So Mwambie Ruto sio Singapore, ni Burkina Faso. Yes, Burkina Faso barabara zinajengwa na wananchi kwa faida ya wananchi. Hospitali zinajengwa na wananchi kwa faida ya wananchi. Shule zinajengwa na wananchi kwa faida ya wananchi. Hiyo ndio tunataka. Sio 2 term, 1 term. Sio ati kabila hili linaonewa ati kwa nini Wakikuyu walifanya 2 term na sasa Wakalenjin wanazuia kufanya 2 term. Hiyo debate ikome. Hawa wanaokufa njaa ni Wakikuyu. Hawa watoto wa Turkana 80,000 wanakufa njaa ni Wakikuyu. Tutoke katika ujinga. Tutekeleze wajibu wetu like serious responsible citizens. It's 1:45 a.m. East African time. Like I said, early in the morning, I'll be heading to Kitui. Therefore, I must call it a day. But I believe we have covered widely what we needed to cover. What remains, we'll deal with it in the subsequent shows. But please keep it a sound, candid talk. Support us. And then, of course, subscribe if you have not subscribed. Like the video and then share it widely. Even after the show, share the video so that whatever we covered widely, people are away, are able to capture even as we go further. But in the meantime, I really want you to think deeply. Hakuna kupiga kura kwa kupitia ile kujinufaisha ama kupiga kura kwa sababu umeambiwa. Tuchague uongozi ambao unafaa nchi hii. Let's fix Kenya. Let's make Kenya work. Let's make Kenya work in the interest of every Kenyan and not for the ruling class against the rest of the population. I appreciate everybody that has been part of the conversation. Thank you so much. Kuna nimemuona Omar Said, nimemuona Milikio Ogola, asanteni sana. Anasema tulikuwa tumepotea. Tumekuwa na itilafu hapa na pale, lakini tunajitahidi kuhakikisha kwamba tutaendeleza hiki kipindi ili wengi wajifunze kutokana na vile tunavyoangazia mambo tofauti. And then of course our PS Tuni, thank you so much. TikTokers, asanteni sana. Nimeona likes hapo zimefika almost 2000, asanteni sana. Tafadhali tuendelee vivyo hivyo na hakikisha kwamba unakuwa Mkenya ambaye ni responsible. Ongelesha jirani yako, umuulize ni kipi hiki ambacho tunafanya. Hii maneno ya 1 term 2 term ni ya nini? Ni kipi ambacho tunaangalia katika nchi ya kipendezi? Okay? Kama vile nimesema, kama ingekuwa mimi ni rais, gavana wa Turkana na kamata yeye na tupa ndani. Kama gavana wa Marsabit na kamata yeye na tupa ndani. Hata kama kuna sheria, tutatafuta hiyo sheria kiwa ndani. Kwa sababu wewe huwezi kuendelea kukaa kwa ofisi miaka 15 bado unategemea msaada na unapewa pesa ambayo wewe unapaswa kuipangia kulingana na mahitaji ya kaunti yako. You are given an allocation so that you come up with programs that are fitting for your county. So the priority of Marsabit is not the priority of Nairobi. The priority of Turkana is not the priority of Kiambu. Na umepewa allocation. Lakini vile watu walikufa wakati wa Moi, walikufa wakati wa Kibaki, walikufa kabla devolution, bado wanaendelea kukufa. Alafu hapo mnakuja kutuchosha na maneno ya 1 term 2 term. We need governors that know what governance is. And the reason for devolution is to develop our various counties based on the needs and their priorities. Mlikuwa mnasema kwamba uamuzi unafanywa Nairobi na wale wanafanya uamuzi hawaelewi ground. Sasa tukasema tufanye devolution, kila kitu ifanywe kwa ground. Sasa nyinyi mko ground. Badala mtafutie maji watu wa Turkana, muhakikishe kwamba chakula ni cha kutosha Turkana, bado mnang'evya hapa Nairobi mkikula mshahara ya bure. Halafu mnakuja hapa kutuambia maneno ya 2 term. Enough is enough. Let's just end it there. Thank you so much for being part and parcel of the conversation. We will continue looking at this. Hata wakituchokia sisi tutasimama imara kwa sababu nchi hii ni yetu. Kinacho waumiza watu wa Turkana kinatuumiza. Kile kinachoumiza watu wa Marsabit kinatuumiza. Kwa hivyo lazima tuheshimu kila mmoja wa Wakenya Aswa wale ambao wanatafuta uongozi, tupe sababu ya kukufanya kiongozi. Usikuje hapa kutuchosha kwa sababu ati 2 term ni lazima. 2 term sio lazima, katiba imeweka hiyo ili wananchi warekebishe makosa yao. Kama walikosea 2022, warekebishe ya makosa 2027. So there is no automatic transition from 1 term to 2 term. It is not there. And Kenyans, we need to use that opportunity. Kama tulikosea 2022, turekebisha ya makosa 2027. Hatuwezi endelea na uongozi ambao hufai kwa sababu tuna preserve maneno ya 2 term. Haiwezekani. Na wahusika wote wa ile swala ambalo tumeonyesha la Turkana, pemkeni. Hiyo lishe inayotafutwa ambayo ilikuwa inanunuliwa na Amerika, weka kwa budget. Usiweke kwa budget, saini jambo la dharura. Red Cross and all the wherever institutions that are for emergency cases. It's time to move in with speed and help salvage the situation. How do you expect those families to keep going in this kind of a situation? So let's do the necessary. Thank you so much. Naomba mniachilie, tutakapokutana katika masafa mengine. Naomba tafadhali makinika, wajibika na hakikisha kwamba unahusika katika kubadilisha nchi hii ili tusonge mbele kwa pamoja tukielewana. Asanteni sana. God bless you.